everyone, it's Fay here from FayJohnstone.com, and I'm recently had a question, and I get a lot of questions about shamanic journeying and getting started with shamanism. So this Facebook Live here is in a response to questions about shamanic journeying, and I thought I'd do my top 10 tips for successful journeying. So firstly, if you are interested in shamanism, first thing really to do is to find a teacher who's local to you, or get yourself acquainted with shamanism by watching YouTube videos and books. Really highly recommend the books by Sandra Ingerman, who is really one of the foundation kind of teachers in core Western shamanism and the techniques that we use. And also there are practitioners like myself, who run online courses to give you a foundation in the basics of Western shamanism. Okay, so when we work with the practice of shamanism, we access an altered state, and this is called the shamanic journey. And this is what I'm talking about today. So what I'm specifically referring to today is when we journey by use of the repetitive beat of a drum or a rattle. Okay, so this is not the only way to access the other worlds, the altered state of consciousness, where we connect with the spirit world. This is not the only way at all, but this is just in response to the questions I've been having. So that's what I'm answering today. Okay, so here are my sort of top 10 tips really for when you're starting out with shamanic journeying, and what you kind of really need to keep you safe, to keep you successful, to keep you on track and kind of focused with your journeying. And if you follow these, you'll get so much more out of those connections when you start to journey with the drum. So yeah, when I started my journey with shamanism, it was over 10 years ago now. Oh gosh, it might have even been 20 years ago. No, 10 years ago. Oh, I don't know. I can't even remember what year we are, but it was quite a while back. And I really sort of very religiously kind of did my journeys lying down, listening to a drumming track, which at the time was like on a tape or a CD, you know, and that was how I learned to journey. And that's how many of us learn to journey now. But obviously, like I said, it's not the only way that we can access this altered state of consciousness. And now my techniques for journeying have changed. And sometimes a simple walk in nature, an intuitive walk in nature, opening up my senses and connecting to my space of knowing in that way gives me just as much information. In fact, I kind of view it as my lazy way of journeying is to put on a drumming track or a rattle track that I have on my telephone and access information that way. But so firstly, just let go of what you think a journey should offer you, should feel like, or you should be experiencing. Let go of the shoulds, let go of those expectations. Get yourself, so number one is to create sacred space. Don't do any work in spirit or to connect with the spirit world from a space where you personally are feeling wobbly or threatened or vulnerable, and create sacred space. If you are working already, if you're in shamanism, you will be already familiar with many different ways to create sacred space and call in spirit guides and create a lovely safe container for the work. Okay, and it's really important as well that you won't have any interruptions. And one of the pitfalls I see with students when they start with shamanic work is we have this real want that we want to squeeze in the shamanic journey quickly in our sort of busy routine, because we want to learn about shamanism, and we want to do this because we know it's important, and we sort of think, okay, well, I'll just squeeze it in there, I've got 20 minutes, I'll just pop it in there. But actually that doesn't really work, because you need space to prepare, space to get yourself into, you know, a nice relaxed state so that you can journey and connect. And then you need this integration space afterwards to allow the information to filter down into your being and integrate itself and anchor itself and come into action. So it's not really a case of, quick, I've got a quick 20 minutes, I'm just going to do a journey, connect, and then whiz back to work or whiz back into my busy, hectic social life. So just be aware of that when you're creating this sacred space. So from a sacred space, number two is to have a very clear intention and to stick with that intention. Okay, the intention is the fuel, it is the focus for your work with spirit and for the shamanic journey. Okay, So a clear intention is really important. And certainly at the start, if you're starting out with journeying, I would write down your intention, because then you've got it, you've clarified, you know, by writing it down, you've solidified it, you've clarified it again from words in your head to something that's on paper, to something that you can read, to something that you can remember and hold in your heart for when you journey. And remember, the wording of intentions is very important, as is kind of your reasoning for journey. So firstly, at the very start, really, when you're starting out, you would want to have a very clear intention of things like show me what I need to know about this situation, or show me where I need to open more to love, or whatever it is that you want to be seen, or show me a guide who can help me connect with the plant world, for example, things like this, or show me what I need to know about XYZ. Okay, asking to be shown is will give you more from your journey and from your from your spiritual connections. There's, in fact, the whole kind of topic of intention and how to phrase questions and things is a kind of topic for another day, really. It's like a topic in itself, but it's really important to look at the intention and your reasons for why you're journeying. Are they selfless or are they selfish, you know, and are they kind of frivolous and stupid, you know? So just, you know, just bear that in mind when you're creating your intentions, because and to hold on to that clear intention. One of the pitfalls for me when I first started journeying is that because the experience was so amazing and blissful and wow, I got really, really sidetracked, and I would forget my intention. I'd forget kind of why I journeyed into the spirit world. I'd forget what information I was trying to bring back to help myself grow, and I would get really sidetracked with the wonder of it all and the excitement. So just be aware of you know, having that clear intention. What's needed here? What do I need to know? What do I need to be shown? Who do I need to meet? What information am I trying to get from this encounter to bring back into my life? Because, you know, this is why we're connecting with the spirit world and our guides and opening up to these other worlds, is because we want to bring back information that will help us grow and will help our communities and will improve our lives. That was number 2. Number 3 is guides. Always working with a guide, inviting in beings of compassion, light beings, guides who will guide you and be with you, okay? So if you don't have a guide, if you're like, what's she talking about? Well, that will be your first journey, when you're connecting with the drum, your intention will be, show me a guide who is going to work with me and show me what I need to know and be my guide for these connections. Okay, so guides are really important. Always travel with a guide, and you might find you have different guides for different things. I certainly do. And even now, my first, if you like, first power animal who I met many, many years ago, who was a snake. It's really rare, actually, that I work with snake these days. I have 2 main guides. I have 2 protector guides. I have different guides who work with me for my connections with the plants, different guides who work with me for different shamanic techniques like power retrieval and soul retrieval and so on. So be aware of that and be open to meeting guides, and basically travel with a guide, because it makes everything so much easier, so much safer, and allows you to open to their guidance for you. So number 4 I've written down here is boundaries. Okay, it's your interaction, it's your choice to connect it with the spirit world, it's your choice to journey. Okay, so be clear, really, really clear on your boundaries. And what I mean is, set the dial and put it out there, you know, with your intention as to what you are open for and what you are not open for. Okay, when we work with spirit, when we set up our lovely sacred spaces with our candles and our incense and our smudge, and we've called in the light, we are connecting with this beautiful light of our being and the truth of who we are. And as light beings, when we're in this lovely state, we are actually kind of a beacons. We're attracting lots of other stuff. And it's really, really important to have a clear boundary of, no, I'm journeying because I want to meet a guide to do X, Y, and Z and meet the spirit of the holly tree or whatever it is you're journeying for. And I don't want to be, I'm not available for other people's healing. I'm not available for lost souls who need healing or to connect with other people. I'm only available for this as part of my intention, okay? And we set the boundary, and we also can set the boundary of to spirit for what we're not available to receive, for what we're not available to encounter, because we want to keep, and I'm really fortunate in this, I have to say, my spirit guides keep me very safe, and they keep me in this very nice innocent place of I ask very clearly not to be shown certain things, and so they keep me there, and they're good on the dial. Sometimes they haven't been in the past, and I've had crazy kind of collapses in the middle of the day because some feelings in my body have been so strong from the spirit world. And then I have to really get back in and go, you know what, that's not acceptable. I can't do that. I'm trying to function in this human world here. You can't come over me like that. And also I have very, very clear boundaries. For example, when I am in that state between sleeping and being awake and sleeping, you know, at the beginning of the really early hours of the morning and late at night. Oh, hi, Phoebe. So I have really clear boundaries about what I'm available for, because I'm very susceptible. We're all very susceptible in those moments when we're kind of just nodding off to sleep or just waking up. And that for me is sometimes when a lot of spirit will come wanting to ask me questions or wanting to give me information or wanting to bother me generally. And I'm very clear sometimes, and I'm just like, no, 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 and no. So just, you don't have to be open to it. But you know, you get to choose is what I'm saying. So that was number 4. Number 5 is to journey, to remember as we journey, as we do any work really in the spirit world, what we want to be doing is we want to be opening with a childlike curiosity of wonder, like, oh wow, look at this is amazing, this is all green, and wow, goodness, like this, rather than the tendency that we have, particularly as adults, is to analyze. And we get in the head and we go, oh goodness, wow, I've come to my childhood home, and the brain goes, oh, I wonder what this means. No, 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 no. When you're in that altered state, when you're journeying, there is no time for analysis. You are not in the headspace for an analysis, okay? So don't analyze. Stay curious, observe, and just partake in the adventure, okay? Rather than thinking that you're going to need to analyze. You have to trust that your heart and your being and your resonance will remember all the important information that you are experiencing as part of this spiritual journey, so that when you come back, yes, you can analyze and write it down and journal and think to yourself, oh, I wonder what that means. I wonder if that will be revealed to me. But while you're in it, just experiencing it and enjoying it. And so that brings me on to point number 6. You see, I made notes on these. I actually thought about this for a change. So being in the receiving mode is number 6. Okay, so what I want to say here really is that when we journey, when we connect with spirit, we are not watching a movie. It is not just physical, the physical sensation of seeing stuff. Okay, I get a lot of people say, oh, I do shamanic work and journey and everything, but I'm not a visual person, so I just didn't get anything from it. Well, you know, you don't have to be a visual person, because shamanism, the practice of shamanism, is the experience of direct revelation, which means you have to experience it with the full of your being, the fullness of your being, which also means that somebody like me, who is a shamanic practitioner, I can journey for you, and I can bring back information, and I can bring back messages, and I can bring back healing. But it's when you experience it for yourself, and when you start having that direct relationship with the spirit world, when you start having those direct connections with your guides, that is when things start to break open and the magic starts to happen, because in your being you are physically experiencing it. So for example, when I'm journeying and when I know I've got to that state, what happens to me is it's just this pure bliss and emotion. Really, it bubbles up from me deep within my heart. It bubbles right up, and I just feel it in my throat. And I often will come out of a journey, if it's been a really good one, a very transformative one, I'll just come up with this amazing sort of grin on my face, because I can't kind of control. It has just bubbled out of me, like that big golden smile inside. And that is that bliss state. That is that state of ecstasy that the shaman in the trance, or however you might think of a medicine person, will get to that state and connect with the spirits. So remembering that it's not a movie, you're going to be experiencing physical sensations in your body. You're going to be hearing things. You might even be smelling things. You might be visually seeing things as well. And you might feel sometimes like your body might even move or flinch, all sorts of things like that. So just remember that. And this is why when we connect in nature, for example, when you walk in nature, we can practice connecting with these physical senses, because this is our receptivity, and the more we can feel into the body and our physical senses, actually, when we're alive, when we're in this reality, that really helps us when we start journeying into the shamanic reality. Okay, so where am I? I am on I think I'm on number 7. And this is actually all about giving thanks. So again, so we're just, while we're in the journey, while we're in the mix of it, we're just experiencing it, okay? And even if there is a nothingness, just experience the nothingness. What is it? What is this blackness? What is this darkness? What is this thing which you are judging is nothing, okay? So just being in the journey, but this point here is giving thanks. So when the journey comes to an end, and if you're listening to a drumming track, or if you're drumming for yourself, just get to that point where the beat changes and you know it's time to come back from wherever you have been and coming back to this reality. And as you're doing that, as you're coming back, you are giving thanks, and you're giving those thanks. You can say thanks, you can give thanks from your heart, you're giving thanks for your experience, even though, remember, at this point, you might not really, your brain is not necessarily going to be understanding it. You're going to be like, whoa, that was kind of crazy. I'm coming back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because we're analyzing it later. So thanking the spirits, thanking the experience, even though you don't even know what that really was. Thanking and being very clear as well that that's closed, that's ended, okay? And just trusting that you've got the information that you needed. So the next point I want to make, number 8, is integration, okay, and settling. So what we don't do is we don't stop a shamanic journey like that and boom, rush, take the kids to school. You know, no. For me, always, the magic comes in the moments, in the sort of 10 minutes, 20 minutes after a journey, when I just allow everything to fall down. It's like the whole kind of beautiful conscious being that I am, all my molecules have just been shaked around, blah, 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 like this. And when the journey finishes, they come back, they fall back to place like a snow globe that's been shaken up, and they arrange themselves in a completely different way. And I sort of feel the shift in my body. But it's in that quiet period of integration after a journey that the magic is often revealed to you and the guidance will flow. So, and I do this when I'm working with clients. We'll do a big piece, we'll be drumming and singing and rattling and going all crazy, and then it stops, and then I usually put some music on. Some nice peaceful music. And actually, anyone who's been to any of my Reiki drum sessions in Edinburgh recently will know I'm just like a big fan of Jennifer Berenson returning, and I love that music so much. And everybody who comes is like, "Hey, you're going to play that music afterwards?" And that really is gives you a sense of like coming home. So pause. So this is the message here for this piece, is number 8, integration. Settle. Allow that, because the drum and the rattle and that altered state that your being will have been in is very transformative. So just allow it to settle and allow your being to come back together again into the way it has now been formed after that experience. Okay, so then number 9 is closing down your space. So yeah, after you've allowed that to integrate, close the space. Be really clear that you've finished your connection with the spirit world. Close the space down, blow out your candle. If you feel that there has been emotional expression of like tears or joy or anger or whatever has been going on, that's why some people like to use cleansing herbs like smudge, for example, white sage or palo santo, mugwort, lavender, rosemary, all these lovely beautiful herbs and incense mixes that you can buy that will cleanse the space. Open the window, get it all out, say thanks to the spirit world. And number 10 here for, and this is really important, okay, because we ain't journeying for nothing, okay? Inspired action. Number 10, what action are you now going to take in your life because of what has been revealed to you in your journey, okay? That's really, really 100% important, okay? Because what's the point of doing all of that? Yeah, we can have lovely experiences. I go to bed at night and have beautiful dreams. But if I don't write them down, if I don't look at them, if I don't ask myself, how can I integrate that into my life? How can I bring this important guidance and messages back, even though I don't really understand it? How can I integrate that into my life? How are things going to change? The things won't change unless you change and take action. They will just stay completely the same. And actually, you'll find that if you are journeying and not taking action, the spirit world, the connection with the spirit world will just go, ugh, because it's like, you know, we're telling you the message, you got to do this. And if you're still not understanding or resisting and not taking action, then things are not going to change for you. And that's the whole reason we are wanting to do the whole process of shamanic journeying, is because we were wanting this connection. We're wanting to connect to another reality, to experience an expanded state of consciousness, to see life and experience a different way of being in the world, and connect with the spirit world that can give us that different perspective and bring back that messages and the guidance and the wisdom that can help us come back to the truth of who we are and remember that divinity and that light that we carry inside of us. And so that really, really is really clear, number 10. So I'm just going to run through them from 1 to 10 very quickly. So top 10 tips for journeying. Number 1, creating sacred space, journeying from sacred space. Number 2, having a clear intention. Number 3, calling in your guides to help you. Number 4, being really clear on your boundaries, what you are and what you are not available for. Number 5, staying open, being curious, resisting the need to judge and analyze. Number 6, receiving with all of your senses, not just thinking that you're watching a movie. Okay, so that's receiving and experiencing. Number 7 is, where am I? Giving thanks to everything and trusting that you have received exactly what you needed to receive. Number 8, integration, really, really key period after the journey, allowing that pause, allowing the doorway between closing the journey and then stepping back into another reality to really, really integrate into your being. Number 9, being really clear that you've closed the space and cleansing the space again. And number 10, taking inspired action with all this amazing information and magic that you have gained from your interaction with the spirit world. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you for everyone who's been watching, and if you've got any comments, then love to hear from you about your experiences too. Okay, bye everyone. Bye.